This is the second video of a three-part series. In the first part we took a picture of a key and figured out the code from it. The second part, this video, I'm going to attempt to hand file a key given a code. The key code information that we got in the first video from the website I have printed out here. Basically has, if you know the code, say for instance the first number is a 6, this would be your 6, and then you would look at your depth, which is a 0.245. So what you'd want to do is cut the key in the proper position to where this distance is a 0.245 inches, or 245 thousandths of an inch. The piece that actually cuts the key is shaped like this, and it's approximately, from what I've gathered, 0.031 inches on the bottom with 45 degrees on the sides. I'm going to mark out where each of the cuts on the key should be, and I'm going to do this with a Sharpie. I know it's not the most accurate way, but looking at our depth and spacing information, the top row spacing, you can see 0.231. This indicates the center of the first cut off of the shoulder of the key. So this, once again, I'm using the calipers. If I set it to a 0.231 and I butt the shoulder of the key, I can mark an approximate of where the first cut's going to be, and that's to the center of the cut. Second one, which is 387. There, 387. Okay, and I'm going to do this for all 5 cuts. Okay, now that I've marked all the locations of the tumblers where the cuts need to be, I just wanted to show you another way you could do this. If you had a Schlage key, you could line them up, and then you can see where the cuts are going to be, and you can actually mark the tops of the key with a marker where each one of the cuts lie. My next step is to look at the depth, spacing, and information chart. Now we know that our key code, we know we want it to be 42726. So what I'll do is I'll look at the depth and spacing information chart, go to the 4 column and take a look at the depth. So we can see that our depth should be a 0.275, and that's off of the bottom of this key. We know that. So I think how I'm going to do this is I'm going to use these calipers, set it to 275, and then on the first cut here, that's the one closest to the shoulder, I'm actually going to butt the back of the key right here and just scribe a little line across my markered section. The second one on our code, 42726, is a 2. According to the depth and spacing information chart, the 2 column, I should have a depth of 305. So I'll set the caliper to 305. Once again, I'll butt the bottom of the key and then scribe a little line across my markered section. Okay, so you can see what I've done here is I've scraped a line through every markered section at every cut. Okay, now that I have my marks on the key, I'm going to take a Dremel tool and I'm going to just cut one slot all the way down, almost to the mark. I'm going to leave myself a little room in case I screwed up for fine tuning, but we're going to get the bulk of the material off the key. I'm going to take a square file and I'm going to stick the corner of the square file in the cut so that each corner 45's up, and I'm going to just give a real soft 45 to these. Once again, we're not making the key right now. We're just going to take off the bulk of the material We'll fine tune with some smaller files later. And you want to make sure not to cut into your line. So in relatively short time, we've created this really rough version of the key that we need. Okay, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take a really small file known as a needle file, and it has about the same thickness profile that we would want for the key, and we can actually put it in each cut and just file away a very, very tiny little bit if we need be. Just like that. And what we're going to try and do now is we're going to get this perfect. And I'm going to show you on this, on the last cut, the last code number. In our case, the code is 42726. 6, according to our depth and spacing information chart, should be a depth of 0.245. So I'm going to check it, and I have a 0.254 on the caliper. So I'm just going to take this needle file, run it in a little deeper. It doesn't take much. 251. .246. At the risk of taking off too much, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, in relatively no time at all, I have filed all my cuts down to exactly where they need to be. Now, one thing that we're going to have to work on and be real gentle while we're doing it, and I'm also going to use the needle file for this, is you'll notice that these cuts don't 45 up all the way, because I had to dig in a little bit deeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle file and I'm going to put it on here flat like this, and I'm going to just very gently fix that 45 and make sure that there's no spots that the tumblers will catch in. You don't want the key being stuck in the door. So we're going to have to make sure that these 45 up from the bottoms of the cuts. So I'm going to do that now to the first one, and then I'll do the rest off camera. And patience is the key. You got to be careful when you're digging into the side that the bottom of this file doesn't dig into the bottom anymore than it needs to. And we're going to come back with a wire brush too and clean this up a little bit, and that'll get rid of a little bit of slop. But I'm going to go ahead and just clean up the rest of these tumblers, the rest of these cuts, and we're going to clean up the key and see if it works. I think I've filed this key to an acceptable level. I've double checked it with the calipers. Everything seems to be just how it needs to be. And I have this little wire brush here, and I'm just going to run it across all this to clean it up. There she is. This just happens to be the door to which the key that we made hopefully will open. And here's the key that we made. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that say, oh, that's not the right key. So I'm going to try and prove it, and I don't even really know if this is going to work. Here goes. Oh. It's a little rough going in and out. It's not as smooth as a normal key. But it does work. There you go.